You don't actually believe that.
I think I could win it.
What do you mean by win? As well.
They stuttered and they were slow. And I'm like, listen, I want to get the reason.
What is your definition of a shoe?
Something you wear on your feet to go outside.
With cheese, Mr. Squidward, with cheese.
Thomas Rayfield, are you here? And then he goes, I heard you were a snitch. Welcome to the Quackdown.
Wow.
Quack.
Welcome to the Quackdown. This is episode 20.
Wow.
We're almost legal to drink.
Whoa.
been
legal otherwise.
Yeah. But today we are unfortunately not joined by Fernando. He got looped in to this investigation. They found a rubber ducky wrapped in plastic.
Fuck you.
down by the water side. And honestly, like, I'm beside myself. I like that rubber ducky a lot. Yeah, so the whole town is in on it. The whole town is in on it. Everybody's a suspect, and I don't know. He'll get back to us.
Everyone's pretty upset about it. There's kind of overall an extremely strange vibe.
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
very autumnal kind of music that I seem to be hearing lately. So
Yeah, whenever he calls in.
I heard Fernando was the one that had to take pictures of the body and he couldn't stop crying.
Yeah, he cried the whole time.
Isn't he also like fucking the police secretary station or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He might be sleeping with the secretary.
He might be.
Fernando.
He's gonna be so pissed that we compared him to the crying cop.
Over a ducky, I think he'd be fine.
All right, but we are joined by returning guest Nick. He's here. He drove down from a very magical land full of greenery, mountains.
It's for cons. It's
And losers.
and losers.
As of yesterday. I was a little worried when I checked the score and it was 0-3 in like the second.
There was a game yesterday, wasn't there?
yeah.
Who was it that was playing? I should know, but
The two rival
CU and
schools.
CSU.
It was Is that there was a fucking Mountain Dew event outside
Mountain
the stadium.
Dew?
Yeah,
I don't think that's what they call it. Isn't it a mountain showdown?
No, it was a Mountain Dew thing.
Wait,
It was-
are you talking about something entirely separate?
No,
Oh,
it
wait.
was. It was like outside across the stadium. I knew that there was something going on, but Mountain Dew had set up, I guess, like a bunch of fucking stands and was giving out just a shitload of Mountain Dew if you were like wearing green or like some Mountain Dew bullshit.
They're just
I guess.
Baja blasting people in the face.
Yeah, what a fucked up thing to give people that are
College.
drinking a bunch of alcohol, like a bunch of fucking Mountain Dew. You're trying to get people to puke. It seems disgusting.
That is awful. That is awful.
Yeah, that's where I come from. That's my homeland. It's so whimsical and full of petty theft and bike theft.
Green and proud.
No. No, never. Okay, start us off. Anybody got anything mean to say?
I know you do.
I know I do too. Nick, you got anything mean to say?
I could think of like a bunch of mean
All right.
things to say. But
Well, I'm going to jump into my mean thing because it has to do with this little piece of garbage over here on the end of the couch.
Throw it at me. That's fine.
So I think it was when Nick was here the last time. We discussed a game that you still had not played, and we tried to make a deal
so full
in
circle.
order to have you play that game. Can you remind me of that game, Rudy?
Yeah, of course. It's your wallpaper right now.
Yeah,
It's,
the viewers can't fucking see that, so
it's, RDR2, Mr. Red Dead,
Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, Rudy,
Redemption of the Second.
you, since June, have told me that you would finish it this summer. How's that going?
What's the date today?
We're almost out of this summer.
September 15th?
Yeah, you got...
I got a week.
Maybe 16th.
I got a week.
The reason I'm angry right now...
You're not finishing that fucking game in a week.
He's barely played it. he talks all the time about how, I should save money and not buy all these new games because I have such a big fucking backlog. What'd you just fucking buy, Rudy?
Astrobot, and it's fantastic.
What the fuck?
It is fantastic.
I was in disbelief when he told me he did not play the free one first.
Why would I?
Because it's fucking free.
I thought it was just a demo.
No, it's like a full game. It's like Miles Morales length.
Oh, well.
What is
too
wait?
late now.
What?
It's
I've seen like
Little Big
two
Planet.
demos of it.
But don't say it like that.
But it is.
This is what Little Big Planet should have been. Little Big Planet was boring as fuck.
I thought people loved Little Big
Yeah,
Planet.
it was like universally acclaimed.
I don't get it. It was
Yeah.
boring. But
You know
this
what I don't
game,
get? You know what I don't get?
fantastic.
You know what I don't get? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would love it.
No. I refuse to love it.
Why?
Fucking you.
Yeah,
Because-
take me out of the equation. That's not the
I'm
game's fault.
Putting you in the equation.
I think you're the centerpiece of
Yeah.
the equation. He had something mean to say,
Yeah.
and that is directly related
Yeah,
to you.
it wasn't about Astrobot. I'm sure Astrobot is probably a great game.
Okay, cool.
My
Leave him out of
issue,
this.
my issue
Yeah.
is $60 was spent in avoidance of playing Red Dead 2. Garbage.
Listen, from the second of me popping in that game, and I played until 3:30 in the morning because it was so fun. It brought me so much joy. The two actual times I've sat down to play Red Dead has felt like a chore still.
What the fuck? How long? How
A total
long?
of 4 more hours.
4 hours. That's not. I will say the beginning.
And I'm sorry, but like if it's taking that long for me to still get into it, I'm at 10%. Like I have 10% left. I'm willing to give to play this game. And if I play, I'll give it 5 more hours. If I'm still not into it, I'm giving up. I will give back your copy.
What was the last thing that happened in that game to you? Because you got to beat it. You.
Was there a lion in the room, bro?
Oh my God.
I just got a little burpee, bro.
Sweet Jesus.
See, here's my thing. I understand the beginning of Red Dead is a bit of a chore. That the first chapter and then a little bit of the second, it takes a little while to get into gear.
It does.
But once it gets into gear, it doesn't fucking stop, and it does not stop, like at all. Like it's genuinely one of the best games of all time.
It is a masterpiece. I actually want to also make this my main thing to say.
Yeah.
It is though I maybe want to. Are we allowed to loop in people that aren't in the podcast to the main thing to say?
Loop them in.
I also want to include Alex.
that's fair.
In the mean thing to say, he also has not played the story. But what upsets me in particular is he has specifically played so much of the online. He has played so much of the online.
And the online isn't even really good.
I know, yeah, and if he hears this, he is gonna fume at this part. He hates hearing this.
Well, hey, if anything, I applaud him for finding the fun in either mode. So
The fact that you haven't found the fun makes it more like you're
what? I'm playing the game wrong?
No. Well, yes, but you're actively like looking for a reason to not have to play this game now.
I'm looking for a reason to want to start it.
What was? We didn't answer Tyler's question. What was the last thing that happened?
There was this dude.
I got it.
I think it was one of the main. I don't know if it's a side mission or if it's just like a main mission that's like not for the main. Anyways, there was like some dude that we captured who's tied up to the tree, and he was like, "Hey, I know that
Kieran.
I know where they're hiding, but you have to believe me."
Mm.
And so he takes us out to their hideout, their gang hideout.
The address.
Shots were had, and the dude that we were trying to find was not there.
That is
Kieran saved Arthur Morgan's life and becomes an official member of the gang.
That is so fucking early in the game.
I know. that is
fucking early in the game.
That is like the first mission of chapter 2.
That's like right when you get to camp.
That's not true, because I did. That was like the 3rd or 4th mission I did.
Did you go into the bar with Lenny?
Yeah, the bar fight, saved the women.
Wait, did you go into the bar with Lenny's? See,
What? He doesn't get it.
He doesn't. Yes.
What happened in the bar with Lenny? Lenny. Not just Arthur. It
I
was
don't know
you
who
and
these
Lenny.
names. I don't know who these names are.
Lenny's the black guy, the black kid. Well, he's not a kid. He's like probably
Young adult.
20. Yeah, 21.
I walk
He's
in
one
the
of the
bar,
young members.
a bar
of the
fight
gang.
started.
And you got thrown outside and you got all muddy.
I remember thinking that was a pretty cool bar.
And
fight,
That was a
honestly.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was the first time where he like threw me through the window, and I'm like, "Oh, this isn't a
Yeah.
cutscene. It's just continuing."
Yeah,
This
when
is
you're
gameplay."
in the fucking mud rolling around, I really liked it.
And then I think this was a separate mission, or maybe this is the same one where the three ladies are like investigating and one of them's getting abused by the dude upstairs. And you have to go save her. I don't know if that's a separate mission or not. But you're all in the town. Dude, just burp, bro. Just do it.
I like how you keep throwing it towards Rudy after we've been abusing him for 10 minutes straight. No, you are so early into the game, and like chapter 2 even picks up like crazy really, really fast after the Lenny Bar mission. And the Lenny Bar mission was the first bit of comedy in the whole game.
Yeah.
Listen, all I'm saying is
comedy.
I'm already finding a small window enough as it is to play games when I want to.
From 10 a.m. until 3 a.m., correct? Sorry, 10 p.m. until 3 a.m., right? Small window.
That was yesterday, but like when I get home from work on days that I work, I don't turn on my TV when I get home. So if I do play games before work, and that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you? It's too personal. What do you do?
Just trying to like, I either like read.
What are you reading?
I have been reading. You know who Andrew Huang is? It's like a big YouTube.
Who?
Andrew Huang.
Cares.
You asked.
This guy. Been reading. That's my point.
Nice. That's it.
So seriously, like I don't want it to be a chore from the start. And games.
But Red Dead 2 is a little bit of a chore at the start.
I will say
I'm not willing to get through that to get to the point of fun when I just want the fun right now.
I relate to what you're saying in that I remember Red Dead 2 for me. It was I don't remember what had like kept me the steam of playing it, but I don't remember thinking it was super fun when I played on PS4. I play it on PC now, and I really like that because I can like move the mouse to click and shoot. But on PS4, it was just left trigger, right trigger for like click to someone's fucking head and then shoot them, click to someone else. Like aim assist was so fucking intense, and that's just how all Rockstar games have tended to be. But on PC, I've definitely enjoyed it a lot more with the active shooting. But when I played on PS4, I definitely got to a point where I sort of ran out of steam, and I was still so interested in the story by that point because it was like chapter 3 or 4. So I was like invested. But I had to just start ignoring all the side missions. And I do that all the time now. In open world games, I just fuck the side missions.
The side missions in Red Dead, they're cool, but like my biggest advice is just do the story.
Because like I'm not trying to be immersed into this.
No, there's
And
You don't wanna be
maybe
a
honestly,
cowboy?
this might be part of the problem too, is because you keep engraving it to me that I have to beat it. I'm just seeing it as work, as a goal, and maybe that's why I'm not immersing myself. Because like,
God, I wish
I'm not
Alex
looking at
was
it for
here.
joy. I'm looking at it to just I have to do this so you can get off my back.
See,
I'm not
you
doing
get
it for
on
fun.
my back.
But that's if you had started it earlier, I wouldn't be like on your back about this now because of how many games you've beat between now and then. That you could have started it when the hype was all ready to go.
Did you like?
And
Probably could have.
Did you like The Last of Us?
Loved it.
Yeah, I would say Last of Us 1 for me was for sure a chore for the first 3 hours, which I'll say it was really good. But until you pick up Ellie, I was definitely like,
it's a chore.
I remember.
Every time I play that game, I hate the beginning.
I remember feeling like disappointed because I had worked all summer at a summer job specifically to save up for a PS4 to get The Last of Us remastered. It was like one of the first jobs. It was the first job I ever worked. And then I got it and I played the first 3 hours and I was like, what the fuck did I waste my entire summer on? And then I remember finishing. Yeah. And then I remember finishing it at 4 a.m. like 2 weeks later. And I was like, I'm a new man.
It's definitely like it's not the funnest part of the game, but it's also like it's linear, it's straightforward. There's none of this open world shit to like get lost.
Even
or
with
carried
that,
away
it's
in
just
it.
a chore.
I remember,
because
yeah,
they
until you
limit
get
you
Ellie.
and you feel limited. You
What makes-
feel like you're on guard. Like
How do you feel
guardrails.
limited? It's the beginning of the game.
Exactly.
You don't know what the limit is.
Correct.
I
But I
remember-
do because I've played it before.
For me,
But did you feel that way the first time?
Yes. That took me weeks to get through that first beginning part till you reach Ellie, and even then a little bit beyond until Tess leaves.
I remember I was so determined to get through that, so it didn't take me too long. But knew that so much of what I wanted from the game would be like the atmosphere in the writing and that feeling immersed in that environment with those characters. And I remember feeling disappointed because those characters at first just weren't gripping me past the initial opening 40 minutes. The initial opening 40 minutes of The Last of Us 1 is one of the most heartbreaking short films in the fucking world.
It's jaw dropped, just stunned seeing that for the first time.
Fucking good. That's honestly, that is the only thing that I would say Red Dead 2 is missing in comparison to a story like The Last of Us, is something that gets you more invested in Arthur immediately. Because I do think that story, where you learn of Joel, I want to say something about Arthur that you learn later on that they barely talk about, but it's a spoiler. And it's barely acknowledged. But
Arthur Morgan, in my opinion, is one of the greatest video game characters.
He is
of all
one
time.
of the best video game characters ever. Absolutely.
And it's because
if you play him low honor, I think at least high honor, high honor.
Yeah.
Low honor is still good, but it's different.
But high honor is like the story that takes place when you're a good guy.
So good.
It's so good, and how his character develops over the course of the game. Like, he starts off as just this gruff kind of like Joel. He starts off gruff,
but he's so smart. He's so much smarter than Joel is. He's so much more smarter. So much more emotionally intelligent. That's what you learn about him. That's so fucking cool. As the story continues, he is like such an admirable, intelligent guy.
I think that's the biggest thing, that like people go into Red Dead 2 because it came out after GTA 5 expecting GTA 5 or even Red Dead 1, because Red Dead 1 was action adventure. And that was it. Like,
well, Red Dead 1 had a super powerful story too, but it was different. It was different.
Like, it was more of like action adventure.
I had a good
cowboy.
time with that. I beat that game.
Yeah,
but that one is
so good.
This one focuses so much on the characters, their breakdown, what leads them to become who they are in Red Dead 1.
Which is, I will say, I think that's something that pays off a lot in Red Dead 2. But there is something that I think you've hit on, and that I'm sure Alex has felt too, with Rockstar's game design of get on a horse or in a car and follow this yellow line for 15 minutes.
That definitely doesn't help.
It's
that's something that's
kind of just like open world games today.
It is, yeah. Which is Red Dead 2 is really the last open world game that I've committed myself to be honest, in like the last 6 or 7 years probably. It was Cyberpunk. I played a good bit of. I never even beat that though. I never beat Cyberpunk. I should. I thought it was really good. But Red Dead 2 is the only one, and I only committed to it by I stopped playing it as an open world game, and I just did the missions. Which now that I'm replaying it, like there is a good amount of side shit to do, but you kind of have to go out of your way to even find or do a lot of it.
So that's kind of the thing I love about it, is you can get the whole story in a gorgeous open world with amazing motion capture, voice acting, and just go through the story.
Yeah.
The side mission stuff is always cool to return to once you feel like if you're like, cool, I've done the
if
story.
You want more.
Yeah. It gives you some little character vignettes essentially. Yeah.
It's cool, but like the impact that story has had on me,
oh my God,
is more than any other video game story.
Yeah. Or even just reading Arthur's journal.
It's
as time goes on.
You really, and I regret pushing you so much to it, because I see where you're coming from now. But I think you should play it just for the fact of like, that story is so fucking emotional.
Yeah.
And
God, I got goosebumps right now.
Like, yeah, dude, literally, like, because Arthur does start off as a character that, like, if you played it at launch, you were kind of pissed that you weren't playing as John Marston.
Yeah, exactly. You feel kind of annoyed. John Marston's the cooler guy.
Yeah, and you see him there, and like he's there in the story. And
Arthur seems like kind of a boring dumb idiot.
Yeah. That's him at the beginning of the story.
Yeah. It's how everyone else perceives him. How you perceive him at the beginning, and that's part of what I think makes it like really rewarding later on. But now it's a video game podcast. Fuck me.
It's fine. It's fine. Red Dead 2, Mike Flanagan, and something else has
Emmerich.
They always come up. Yeah.
Mike Flanagan is pretty fucking solid. I think he can do some silly stuff sometimes with some of his writing, but I also really love some of his shit a lot. Midnight Mass was so fucking scary.
I've just been rewatching it right now.
My brother just started it
for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was talking about it. I'm like, what episode did you get to? He's just like, he opened up the doors and he wasn't supposed to open the doors. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that scene.
That's such a good scene. I've been watching it because I have the Blu-ray, so I've been watching it at school when I grade papers and stuff.
What a bold move. Like I know, like where it's at. Like your class is like
Very separate.
It's like a trailer almost, like outside.
It's
right?
it's a mobile classroom. So
Right.
thing like
So it's not attached to like the rest
No,
of it. Right.
no.
So like there's some security in that. But I also think I'm like, bro's watching midnight mass in like the middle of a school day and like sends me a Snapchat. I'm like, that's crazy.
Fucking awesome.
it's so good. His new movie Life of Chuck. I think it won at the Toronto International Film Festival like Best Picture.
Wow.
And for the last 12 years, the movie that has won that award at the film festival has gone on to win the Best Picture Oscar.
Really?
Every year for the last 12 years.
Seems
What's
fucking
the
rigged.
genre of the film?
Like it's like lighthearted supernatural-ish. Because it's one of the few Stephen King books that's not horrifying. I'd say it's closer to like, Stand By Me and Shawshank, that kind of
Okay.
vibe where it's
Forgot
like
he also did that sort
yeah,
of shit. Yeah.
it's very weird when you think about Stephen King and like 90% of his shit is scary as balls.
but sometimes he wants to. I get that. Like even I fucking love writing horror, but sometimes probably my favorite stuff that I've written has been like almost slice of life kind of shit because it feels like an escape from it a little bit.
Yep.
But that's pretty fucking. I will compare myself to Stephen King. I'm a great writer.
There's something about that genre, the slice of life, that's just like because anyone can relate to it. Like it's very approachable, and there's a sense of what.
I just am gonna bring it back to Red Dead.
Go on.
Oh, that's what's so. There's so much about Arthur Morgan, like within him, that you can find. Like they do such a good job of emulating real life, like things that people go through within that character. I think in real life emotional conflicts that I think you would appreciate a lot. I think Arthur Morgan is. Oh my God,
he's the most realistic video game character. Like
the way that he encapsulates, it's a small part of his character, but the way that he encapsulates heartbreak is
insane.
so fucking. When he
there's so much.
I think
There's
she's
so
gonna
much.
she's gonna make a fool of me again. And it's like, yeah, she will, and he knows it. And it breaks my heart and also makes me feel so seen. Yeah, she is. You are gonna let her make a fool of you again, man.
No, oh God. Just
Can't spoil it, I guess.
how deep you get to know his character compared to where you are right now. Because where you are right now, he's just some antagonist.
Right.
That's
It's very much just
bland. He's very bland.
yeah.
Because as the story continues to unfold, you learn more and more about the type of man Arthur is in comparison to the type of people he surrounds
The rest of
himself
the game.
with. And especially if you play on high honor, it makes it so much more impactful.
Yeah, this is gonna sound like a weird comparison, and I'm feeling like the answer is gonna get me nothing. Have either of you played Doki Doki Literature Club?
No.
Never heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
Uh-uh.
Oh man, fuck shit. Have you heard of it? Do you know it, like what its whole thing kind of is?
Little bits.
Shit. It's just there's a character in that is different from Arthur Morgan in that she has a different gimmick going for her, but she similarly, I would say, is another most realistically like written character. In what they do with Arthur, they just give him so much actual depth with like that you just keep learning things about him that it feels like you're really getting to know a real person. I think, and that is what makes it so impactful for me. I don't know.
Well, and it's why like the Last of Us series and Red Dead 2 is tied for me.
Yeah.
Because Arthur reminds me a lot of Joel.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Joel. Especially as the game continues to move on. You see it. But also gives me the same vibes as Abby. Because when you play as Abby for the first time, you're like, what the fuck? and B,
I was gonna bring it
I
back
don't
to that
care
when you
about
guys
this.
wanted it to be Marston. Like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
I don't want to play as him.
but then what happened with Abby the more you played as her?
Dude, yeah.
Oh my god.
You love her.
Dude.
You end up loving her character.
God.
It's impossible not to.
I think one of my favorite scenes in Last of Us Part 2, you've beaten it, right?
Yes.
Has to be with the fucking it's when they are in that like knee-high water and she's first fighting back the WLF and they're all calling her a fucking traitor. And she's like diving through the water and shit. I love the way that game uses dialogue in actual combat encounters. Is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I remember when it's like the final fight between Ellie and Abby. And we can't talk about that.
Yeah, but there's people that haven't played the game all the way through and maybe are just watching the show.
That's true.
I try to avoid spoilers from the second game.
Oh, you've learned your lesson, huh?
Yeah. I do. I try really hard not to spoil stuff for people these days. Like everything in my I have been looking for. I'm so glad you're here because
now I have something mean to say.
The story of Red Dead 2 is, I think, will impact him the same way The Last of Us 2 did, in where you are not going to want to replay that game.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, the way that it will hit you at chapter 6 and then the epilogue at the very, very end.
Even knowing I know how it ends.
Yes.
Okay. I would say it's
if you commit yourself to learning about Arthur and taking it as like okay, I look at it from like Romeo and Juliet. Everybody knows they die at the end. It's a tragedy. This is a tragedy as well. Arthur Morgan is one of the most tragic characters of all time.
I think Red Dead 2 is just like the death of the West.
Yeah.
I think a good bit, the death of freedom.
And Arthur is like the embodiment of the West. I think the shift that you have to make is you have to realize it's a character study more than anything else. The set pieces are there to further who Arthur is.
Okay.
And if you it's like getting to know somebody in real life. You get to know Arthur in real time.
You ever like have a friend for a long time and like you have a friend for like 3 to 4 years and you find out something about them that you just like never would have pieced with them or like expected, and it feels like you've unlocked this whole side of them that you knew nothing about. I was feeling that way with Arthur pretty consistently. It
genuine when I say like the most realistic video game character, like it genuinely feels like you're getting to know a real life person who actually existed. Went
like
through all these events.
I think it's the only difficulty in what Last of Us really does better than Red Dead 2, I think, is that it's really difficult to not be taken out of the experience. Like the story is so tight in so many ways that it feels difficult to not be taken out of the experience when Arthur kills 400 policemen during like a train robbery or something. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Like when they send 8, you're like, was this the entire state of Alabama that just came to hunt me?
Well, that's like it's like the end of Last of Us 1 in the hospital.
Oh god,
like that felt,
dude.
I was like, okay, we're killing a lot of people. And then I was like, okay, we're killing
a lot of people.
I remember.
Oh my god!
And I think while the show wasn't as impactful, it was more realistic.
Right, because
there's
the
not going
show
to be
made
a
it feel
one-man
more
army.
like a mass shooter situation, which I think is
the
like
show.
is like good. Like that's what they were going for. I think, man, it really Last of Us 2 and Last of Us 1 now is really something that. Yeah, it's like every 2 years, maybe. It's like my favorite series that I can. I really only replay it when I'm showing it to someone, like a girlfriend or something, or like just a close, like when I lived with Alex. And
hey, you want to cry really hard, really fast? Dude, just play this opening.
I don't know, this is a little personal and emotional, but I watched episode 3 of The Last of Us season 1, like probably. 3 months before my ex and I broke up, and it was when like you kind of like know, you know a little bit that it's right. And I fucking sobbed. It was the most she had ever seen me cry. And I was like, I don't know what's happening to me either. I'm so excited for season 2 and also like pretty nervous for what it's going to do to me emotionally.
I think I'm more excited by how everyone else who hasn't played the game is going to react to it.
I think I think yes, but like it also feels like we've gotten to know a different Joel.
True.
And so like Joel at the end of the game, I was like, I'm kind of on your side a little bit. But this Joel, I'm not. Like,
really?
They make a very clear point to show that Joel is not a good person in that final scene.
Yeah.
Like,
and also, I think they're probably gonna retcon some stuff from the game, or maybe not retcon, but there are definitely in the game. There are like some notes you can pick up throughout that scene that are like, we've tried this before and it didn't work, that sort of stuff. And they clearly kind of walked back on that a little bit by the second game.
They obviously with the show, you have to walk a much tighter rope.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you can't have somebody have a note off to the side in the show that explains what happened.
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
they're fully leaving it up to who knows if this would have worked or not.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of, and honestly, I think they could have done without having those notes in the game as well, because that really forces you to go fully into this decision. And I think that's what like bold, good, confident writing is it's like, I might not agree, this might not make people like this character, but this is going to make this character fucking realistic and like horrible.
That's my biggest issue with the end of the first game is it really cements Joel as like, he did the right thing.
Yeah,
like,
or it tries to give you space for that.
Yeah, like he definitely didn't do the right thing by like murdering 150 people. But like on the flip side of it, like him saving Ellie, she was just gonna die for no reason there.
Yeah.
Do you really think that they really paint it like that? That he's like the hero?
I think they put
that he made the right decision? Because me playing it, I'm just like
the wrong decision he made was lying to Ellie. That's the wrong decision he made. He could have just said, I know for a fact you were just going to die and I can't lose somebody like that again. That's the decision in the game that makes you go, ooh, Joel's doing this for selfish reasons.
I think
not
there's
to save Ellie.
Also probably a lot of people. I know my first time that I played Last of Us Part 1 and finished it, I didn't find those notes. So I think it was a really different experience for me in that level. It's just so fucking conflicting. Yeah. I've never felt so it was probably like there are certain stories in games that kind of open up this new little path in my brain, or like this part of myself that I didn't know was there. And I think Last of Us, when I was like I know I must have been like 15 when I beat it, really did that for me and like really set me up to be a much more conflicted kind of person in some ways, in a really good way. Cause it was like, I support this guy being a horrible person, I guess. Like that is really like, holy shit. Cause I remembered I tried to sneak through those levels without hurting anyone, and then it's so fucking hard. You're like, no, I'm molotoving them.
It kind of forces your hand a little bit. On a side note, don't be mad at me, but when you collect different charactered bots in Astrobot, it'll tell them like it's usually just like one short tagline of like a joke.
Yeah,
I found the Joel one. It says like determined survivor. Underneath it says he tells the occasional white lie. Like, I think it's a little more than just a white lie.
That's so fucking funny.
Before we move into our discussion about what we watched, to take it back a little bit, it took me. I did not beat The Last of Us 1 until probably 2018. From when it came out, yes.
Wow.
It took you 5 years to play it?
Not to play it, to finish it, to beat it. So
what?
I think it lost me in the middle of the game a little bit, just because I felt like.
Are you about to tell me that Last of Us to you is what Red Dead is to me?
No. What I'm gonna say is the time it took me to play it and how much I had matured between 2013 and 2018 made me appreciate what they were trying to do more. So yes, I am trying to relate it back to Red Dead because you have matured since 2019. You're a whole different person.
And
This
you have
feels more like
so
a slap
much
in the
more,
face than
it's
anything.
so much more maturing to do
And
when you're ready to be.
I appreciated Last of Us in 2013.
But
I was 15.
yeah, but at what cost, Rudy? At what cost? At what cost? All I'm saying,
So funny.
play Red Dead 2. Take your time through it. I'm not going to make you play it all in one sitting, but you got to enjoy the ride. Like you got to realize Arthur is not going to be really, you can't connect with him at the beginning of the game because he's not he hasn't allowed himself to be vulnerable at the beginning. He's very like, I got to be like the second in command to this group.
It's not. Do you not like being a cowboy?
I don't really have that appeal.
You
Like I'm trying to remember like why I thought Red Dead 1 was so much fun. Cuz I don't give a shit about the West.
Did you like the story of Red Dead 1 very much?
From what I remember, yeah, I only gave it one playthrough. But
I do. I think the like combat and exploration is easier in Red Dead 1 because there's less to manage. Whereas in like
I will agree with that. That's also like an overwhelming feature. I'm like, I have to fucking care about how fucking fat Arthur's getting. But like, which isn't even an issue this early on, but I'm already worried about it.
I will tell you, like I never had an issue with his weight
I never
at
paid
all.
attention to
Like it's
Arthur always ends up underweight.
yeah, like the weight. Like first of all, for him to like be a heavy Arthur, you have to eat so much food all the time. Like it's insane. Like you have to go out of your way. That's more of like for the people that are in it for the cowboy simulator kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool and it's there, but like I'm in it for the story. I have never like 100% in that game doing all the side stuff. I will never do that because I just don't. It's there, it's cool, but it doesn't reinforce Arthur's story. And Arthur's story is what got me. That's what reeled me in because I genuinely, I was immersed by the environment for the first 2 chapters, but I really didn't care about the game besides like shooting people on horses and having a cowboy time.
I was eventually, I love being a cowboy and having a cowboy time. I'm just going to say that, so I'm probably a little bit biased. But I think as much as I was reeled in by Arthur as a character eventually, ended up getting kind of caught by the same thing that caught me with Breaking Bad, which is you both have had this scene, Breaking Bad, right? Yeah, which is like, oh, I see the train wreck that this is going for, and I need to see
about this last time you were
what
here.
happens. Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I fucking talk.
I watched it backwards.
Oh, yeah. God damn. Yeah, it's so...
It's a domino effect of a game.
Yeah, Arthur. I would not say I was reeled in because I fucking hated Dutch so much. Dutch made me so fucking angry, and I wanted to see him get what was coming so bad. And then I forgot. I'd played Red Dead 1, and I knew what happens to Dutch. But there are some really cool connections between the gravity speech in Red Dead 1 that there are some really cool connections between some of the characters in Red Dead 1 and some of the characters in Red Dead 2. Dutch primarily is an amazing villain.
Like incredible.
Yeah, he's an incredible fucking antagonist. Maybe I guess is calling him an antagonist. He seems like a piece of shit from the beginning, doesn't he?
I'd almost no, because from the beginning he's pretty warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I guess.
And he's
trust
almost
that fucking piece of
less
shit.
of an antagonist and more of just like a foil to Arthur.
Yeah.
Because
he's so much more optimistic instead of realistic.
Yeah, and Arthur is very realistic.
Yeah, that fucking optimistic bastard.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I hate that kind of archetype,
but yeah, no, literally, you gotta take the time and just focus on the story, and then just keep in your head Arthur's gonna be one of your favorite people of all time.
Or you'll hate him. Play him as a piece of shit. See if that does it for you. See if that
I
gets it
can't.
going.
I can't do games like that.
I can't do that.
Anytime where there's like some sort of like honor system, I'm like, I'm gonna do what I personally would do in this situation.
I know.
And people that do like piece of shit things just to see them, like I can't do that.
Uh,
Even if
wh-
it's a second playthrough, I can't do it.
I know. I feel similarly. When I see someone do piece of shit things in a video game just to do piece of shit things to me,
Yeah.
I trust them
like
less as a
playing
human.
Detroit, I haven't given that a second playthrough, but if I were to play it again, I'm gonna play it the exact same way I played it the first time. I'll look up someone else doing the other
Because you can't
decisions.
bring
I can't
yourself
do
to be
it.
mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't. No, I get that. I feel very similarly. Luckily in Red Dead 2, it's almost like hard to get low on her unless you're really. But
Really, you have to be killing civilians.
you have to be
all
killing a
day,
lot of
every day
civilians
to get it low on it.
and it's really there really
And-
is kind of a dissonance there when it's like my Arthur's acting like kind of a conflicted guy when it's like you're a serial killer, Ted Bundy. Like you're a bad fucking guy. You have tied 80 women to tracks. Like,
Jesus.
God, it's so fucking good. It's so
good
fucking
game, though.
good. It's so
But yeah,
fucking-
you know, play Astrobot if you just don't love Tyler or I. It's okay.
I will, because it's so much fun. I will say,
I hope
however,
it's fun.
this discussion helped me reframe how to look at it, the whole character study of it. So like, okay, I will.
That's what I tell that.
That is a better approach for me than to just
because it
beat Red Dead. But
It-
like,
honestly, you know what? It's kind of comparable to Midnight Mass almost.
Interesting.
Where I know this is gonna sound crazy, but you start off and like you have all these characters that you kind of just don't care about, but it's like a Mike Flanagan look at the West because it's really deep into the characters. There's lots and lots of long conversations on horseback about like the
God,
character's
Midnight Mass
life.
really fucking liked their long
Yeah.
back and forth monologues.
there's only
skipped
one
through
that
it.
I
skipped
hated.
through it on my rewatch.
What was the one that you hated? Was it the
one
ending
of Ri-
one?
no,
what
the
do you
one
think
with-
happens after death?
That one
And it's Riley and his,
Is that her on the porch?
on the
no,
couch.
They're on the couch inside, and they're just going. Each one gets like 10 minutes to monologue,
Yeah, that's Mike fucking.
while the other
Flanagan
one
for
just kind of
sure.
looks at him and goes,
Yeah, that sounds.
"That's
correct.
my least favorite part." Of
That
the
was my real. That was my main gripe with that show. I also I
'Cause-
thought the last monologue when she's looking at the stars that went on so long that I was like, all right, I forgot what you said in the first third of this.
Before we cut away, that actually brings me back to my point about Mike Flanagan. His movie,
Oh,
you know,
that's right.
got the award the 12 years in a row.
Uh-huh.
That person has gone on to win Best Picture.
Right.
Okay. IGN gave his movie a 5 out of 10. And
That's what I thought you were going to be mad
Yeah.
about. Well, until yesterday, but
literally like giving that a 5 out of 10, Transformers 1 a 5 out of 10, and what was the other one? They gave Loki season 2 a 5 out of
the
10.
Penguin.
The Penguin. The Penguin does not look like a 5 out of 10.
Madam Web looked like a 5 out of 10.
Madam Web is a 2 out of 10.
I was gonna say Madam Web looked like a 1 out of 10.
Like a 5 out of 10 is average to me. That's people look at it as like
I would agree with that.
ABCDF scale where like anything below a 5 is a
crap.
fail.
Right.
That's not how it is.
yeah.
And that's why I think like out of 100 should be used more because it gives you more wiggle room for stuff.
Just like the ABCDF scale.
Yeah. but
But a 50 shouldn't be an. We have to change. This
Yeah.
doesn't.
I have this issue at school too where like I'm like
Keep giving these kids fucking F's, telling them they're doing fine.
well in school when a kid gets like a kid tries the whole test whatever gets a 50, that means they know 50% of the content, and that's not failing to me. It's just not passing.
But you're getting something.
You're getting something out
Yeah.
of it. Like you're demonstrating some knowledge, and like you could go back and improve your knowledge and retake it or something like that. But I don't think it's a failing grade, and it's just back and forth that like that's what we're taught, and so that's what we use later on. But anyway, we got to get to our discussion. So
After 45 minutes.
what we watched here after you checked back in with the Quackdown Red Dead 2 edition. We watched a couple weeks ago the pilot of a show called Twin Peaks. Came out in the late 80s. Was like one of the first of its kind in this kind of like soap opera crime thing that like it had everyone in the 80s attached to their TV whenever it dropped. And those episodes dropped like weeks
Weekly?
after each other.
Oh,
Like,
really?
You look at the breakdown of how they were released, it's kind of crazy.
Wow.
Like, these people were kept on the edge of their fucking seat
Forever.
forever.
Wow.
And then you get to season 2 that has 22 episodes compared to the 8 of the first one. And it's just, you're like, oh, okay. Season 2's packed. But anyway, so we watched that. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will come right back to discuss that. If you want to watch it, I think it's Paramount
Paramount
Plus.
the first 2 seasons.
Everything is free on the 7 Seas.
Yeah. Captain Jack Sparrow over here knows where to find it. And God damn. But yeah, so we'll be right back, and we will talk about that, and we'll have a good time. So we'll be back.
Let's go talk about a show. Hey guys, this is Rudy from the Quackdown podcast. If you guys love electronic dance music, be sure to check out my own DJ radio show called Axiom Radio with Drebin. It's a 2-hour monthly radio show hosted by me. For the first hour, I play some of the best tunes that I found for the month and piece them together for a euphoric journey. The second hour, I pass the decks to a guest mix of the month where they finish off the journey however they please. So if you like trance, melodic house, or techno, check out Axiom Radio with Drebin on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast listening app. And be sure to give me a follow on Instagram at drebin.music to stay up to date on the show.
Hello, viewers and listeners of the Quackdown podcast. Welcome to this week's Quack Fact. This week's fact is brought to you by a 2002 year-long study from the United Kingdom that found ducks to be the funniest animal. Along with modern culture references like Daffy Duck and Donald Duck, ducks were found to be silly characters in the fictional stories of many cultures, perhaps because of their physical appearance and their cute little waddle. The researcher also noted that the word for duck is inherently funny in multiple languages, and other studies have found the hard K sound to be the funniest sound in the English language. Thank you, viewers and listeners, for joining me in this week's Quack Fact. Now, on to the movie review.
Welcome back from our little commercial break. Again, we watched Twin Peaks, the pilot, largely regarded as one of the greatest pilot episodes of all time. It's like, 90 minutes long?
Yeah, it's a movie.
Long. It's a movie.
It is a movie. Originally, it just straight up was a movie. They showed you who the killer was.
Really?
What?
Yeah. Originally, it was just a movie, and at the end, you got to see who the killer was. And then they were like, actually, this would be a great TV show.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
really?
fucking cut out the bit where you find out who the killer is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys, you've seen it before.
I watched it quite a long time ago. I watched the first 2 seasons probably when I was like 19 or 18, 25 now for context, so like 7 years ago. And then I rewatched the intro, and it's really good. It's a show I watch mostly for the vibes.
Yep.
It is.
After you watch
Yeah.
it once and you like try to take it all in, which you
I've-
will never be able to.
You're never gonna actually fully fucking. The characters are so weird.
Yeah.
Almost every episode, I'm just like, God, is there a 24-hour diner? I could really
Yeah.
just go for a cup of
God,
coffee
yeah,
and sit at the
yes,
bar.
I know. Is there a fucking cherry pie slice somewhere?
Yeah, damn good coffee.
Did I tell you I went to the town that Twin Peaks was filmed in this summer?
Really?
Yeah. So I went there. We went to the diner.
Fucking shoot me.
We went to the diner. We went to the waterfalls. We saw the hotel. Like, it was all super cool. It was hot as hell though. So like,
Really?
Oh, you didn't tell me
kill
that
in the
part.
summer. Well, it was like 90 every day.
Disgusting.
Yeah, and not a cloud in the sky for Washington. It was weird. It was very
that
weird.
is fucking. That's kind of annoying.
It was a little annoying because I like Washington for
They
the
didn't
rain.
even like fucking kill someone just to get the vibes right over here.
Not that I know of. at
God,
least.
what a bummer.
But anyway, how would you rate the episode, the premiere of Twin Peaks?
I would say I would give it. I mean, a solid, probably like 8.5 out of 10. I would say I am I really liked Twin Peaks, but I also didn't end up watching the movies and everything. I enjoy the vibes, and I enjoy a lot of the really fucking weird Red Room scenes and that sort of thing. I fucking love the soundtrack. I love the cinematography, and I love the weird fucking acting. Like, just the weird way that characters act. Like, when the guy finds out his daughter is dead in the first episode, when, like, that girl's been missing for, like, what? Like, a night? She's been missing for a night. And this guy sees a cop come in and look at him, and he's like, no! And
to be fair, if I was like, oh, my daughter's missing, and then a cop shows up at my job, I'd be like, and shows up at my job without my daughter. Like, that's the key. It's like if he walked in and like Laura Palmer was right there, he's like, "I got her," and he'd be like, "Yes."
I guess it's a good
But he's
point.
on the phone with his wife, who's like, "Hey, she's not home." And then the chief of police walks into your place of business.
Yeah, I guess
asking for you.
I guess that's a decent point, to be honest.
I think you just from a dad's point of view, you kind of
worst case scenario.
You see the slow realization of like
it is a slow. I mean, I do love it. I fucking love that sort of shit though. Like, there is no shying away from like both the weirdness and the kind of realism of a lot of it. But I definitely, I think probably my favorite pilot episode of all time, I mean, we talked about it before, it was probably like the Breaking Bad pilot episode, which is essentially just like plot shot, like that sort of shit. But I did really fucking like that. I love the crying cop a lot. This shit, it show's hilarious.
It shows very funny.
Yeah.
And sometimes like on purpose and sometimes not on purpose.
So that was a little weird to me because I went in completely blind. Tyler would just tell me like, "Oh, Twin Peaks is a really good show," and all he would tell me was like, "It's weird."
Yeah.
And that's all I knew. And so
that's all you need to know.
Yeah, that's all I needed to know. And like one of the first scenes when they find the body. And yeah, crying cop shows up trying to take a picture and he like won't stop crying. I'm just like, my first thought was like,
why is this guy
like,
in
should I
the
be
show?
laughing? Is it his first day on the job? I'm like, I felt conflicted. I'm like, how am I supposed to approach the show right now?
Because you haven't learned about the character yet.
Yeah, and then very quickly was I just like, oh, there is a lot of humor to be had.
Yeah.
Like really dark humor at like very bizarre times to have humor.
Yeah. And then my favorite scene in the pilot is the first scene with Cooper.
Yep.
And that whole monologue of him in the car talking, recording himself, and I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy that he's just doing this
weird
like, just
fucking
doing
creep.
a whole monologue narrating what his whole day looked like. I'm like, and just from that, I'm like, I like this guy, and I had no idea he was going to be like the main character. I'm like, oh my god!
But he's
dude.
this little weirdo smart guy.
Yeah,
I love that scene as well. When you're like, who is like this?
Exactly. I sent him a snapshot. I was watching. I'm like, I feel like I should start just recording my thoughts like this.
Dude, I do. I write in the diary constantly. I love it.
It is just like a very quick but effective introduction to the world that they're trying to build, where like it's like, yeah, this event, like they balance the weirdness with the reality of it very, very well.
Yeah,
because especially in that opening episode, the scene in the school where everybody slowly starts to figure out Laura Palmer's dead,
that was rough.
is so hard to watch.
Yeah,
because you're like, especially because like, you know, being in school, or like me being in school.
It's so weird. It transmits really well how quickly information gets transmitted in that environment, kind of whether it's true or false, and whether you don't know like who to actually believe or what really happened. Such a like similar to a parking lot getting set on fire or something like that. But
oh god.
Deep pull.
It's more of a farmer's land, but that's
true.
But
there was that scene with the principal too, and like him having to deliver the news. I'm like, bro, fuck having to have that.
I know
responsibility of having to tell that,
and like him keeping his cool until
the end,
off.
and then breaks down.
That's very realistic. That's a very realistic pull of leadership, is like when something fucking horrible happens, leaders step up and they put away their emotions for the betterment of everyone.
Act
Humanity,
cool for
yeah.
act cool for 15
Betterment,
minutes till they can get into a broom closet and be like, holy fucking shit,
Yeah,
holy
this
fucking
is
shit.
fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, and the characters just get better and better and better, with the exception of James. I hate James.
Big forehead.
Massive forehead.
Is James the one that was
Motorcycle.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That is who I thought it was.
He is the cheesiest dude.
I almost love that though.
I don't know if you saw
He's
the
such a
story
fucking
I posted
asshole.
from the Quackdown last night. There's a meme in there, and it's like every girl in Twin Peaks is like, "Oh my God, James is so moody. He's
The
so
guy
hot."
you're-
And then it's just like actually James, and it's Sid from Toy Story. I look at him every time, I'm like, how does he have every fucking teenage girl in this town on his arm wanting to be with
Weird
him?
looking guy.
That's how I felt about Jess from Gilmore Girls for a while, but then my mind ended up changing. Neither of you have watched Gilmore Girls.
No.
No, but my girlfriend has. She's watching it currently.
Get her on this podcast to talk about Gilmore Girls with me.
All right. So next week we're gonna.
Rudy's gone. We got
I'll sit this one out.
no Gilmore Girls for this guy.
Oh, it's so good. I'm sorry.
No, so you're only on the first season, right?
Yeah, I'm on episode 6. I'm almost over there.
Okay. So is it a spoiler to tell him when the killer gets revealed?
I think
Is it not the first season?
a little bit, but not like.
Like just saying.
I don't remember exactly when is it.
Just give me an episode. I don't think that's too much.
Well, I'm not going to give you an episode, but it's not in season 1.
Oh, okay.
And it's not the end of season 2.
That's so
The fuck?
It's so incredible
Oh,
that
wait.
they originally revealed it in the pilot episode.
Yeah, that they planned this to just be a 90-minute movie. and that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and then they were like, actually, we can with more weird fucking
We can
vibes,
pull a lot
we
from
can
this.
totally stretch
Also,
this.
fucking, what's her name? Log Lady?
I love Log Lady.
What a weird fucking character.
I love her introduction too, because it just it surrounds it with weirdness. Where
Yeah.
he's like, "Who's the lady with the log?" And then the sheriff goes, "Oh, we just
Log
call her the
lady.
Log Lady."
It's kind of accurate to real like small town bullshit. Though.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's Bicycle Jesus over there. Yeah, that's Bicycle
There is some real bad acting in the show.
Yeah.
a lot. Like, and there's times where it's like, oh, they're acting bad to play into the weirdness, and then there's times
Yeah.
where they're just like, they're bad. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of just assumed that they were all doing it for the sake of the weird, except James.
and he gets weirder as it goes on, but like the truck driving
Leo?
Leo, yes, I forgot his name. He's not a great actor.
No, he's not.
And you can tell in those moments, and there's something that happens later on that you can tell that everybody else could tell that he was a bad actor.
Oh man, I wish I knew what you were referring to with that. I'll have to watch.
I think it's in season 1, but I can't remember.
Okay.
But
We'll get there.
yeah, he's interesting. Yeah, I love how much just infidelity happens in this town too. People are just cheating on each other at the drop of a dime.
Yeah,
And
because
fucking-
you got both women at the diner.
Yep.
What's the name of? Is it Bobby?
Bobby.
The dick?
Yeah, the football player.
Yeah.
First suspect kind of thing.
First suspect. I just found out that the older woman at the diner, the husband just got on probation, so he's coming back.
Yep. James.
James's uncle.
Well, James' uncle, but
Oh, and also James.
also James. James is like,
And then he approaches the Laura Palmer's. Well, this isn't the pilot episode, but he like eventually talks to like her cousin, who
Yeah.
looks a lot like her.
who's played by the
Who's played by the same
actress.
actors. I'm just like,
yeah.
He's a
the
James.
fuck you trying to pull?
the weirdest, most confusing fucking casting.
You know what? He has the same vibes as like Pete Davidson, where you're like, hey, what the fuck's going on here? Because
Why is this guy?
women are willing to risk their lives to be with this man.
What are you strapped with over
Like,
there?
it's fucking insane. No, one of my favorite characters that I can't remember if he gets introduced in season 1 or not, but he immediately becomes my favorite character every time he's on screen, is David Lynch's actual character.
Dude,
Oh, he comes on the shows himself?
Yes. What's his name? Oh God! But he has a gimmick where his character is deaf, so he yells all of his
I
lines.
don't remember that character. That's fucking
And he
hilarious.
wears this like earpiece thing that sits right here, and it's like a microphone, so that people, when it's like hearing aids, but it's out and
It's
about.
fucking
Very
awesome.
extra.
I love his character.
David Lynch seems like such a strange fucking kind of asshole.
He honestly, he seems like a lot of fun to just hang out with. He used to do these things like, because he's taking a break for like health reasons and
Oh, is
potentially
he?
might not come back to directing, because he smoked a lot when he was younger, and then
That does make sense.
he got to a certain point where he was like, okay, I've kind of reached the point of no return. And he's like, I haven't
CBD
smoked in a
or
long
whatever.
time, but like that
damage
point
is
of no
done.
return, the damage is done.
Yeah.
And he's not sure how much he can direct anymore. But like before, he used to do these things every Friday on Twitter where he'd do a weather report for just where he was. So he'd go on and he'd be like, it's sunny outside and I hope you enjoy your day. And it's so, he wears sunglasses. Oh God. I got to show you one of them because it's so funny. But no, him and Mark Frost. And Mark Frost is the guy who ultimately did more of the overarching story for Twin Peaks. David Lynch was more of the director, making everything feel weird.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. David Lynch took 100% control over the Red Room.
Yes. Yeah.
There's that scene in the pilot where Bobby and his blondie friend are like fighting all those bikers in the bar. And I find it hard to believe that they put up that good of a fight.
It's
I'm like, it's two high schoolers.
yeah.
Put them down.
Put him down.
That's
What are we doing?
Put him down.
There's a lot of this show that you just have to like suspend your disbelief for and just go, this is weird.
It was
weird.
very much for me
It's-
like a cannonball moment for you. I was watching. I'm like, this isn't.
Yeah.
Why are we struggling?
It's more like, it's almost sometimes to me, it feels so Shakespearean.
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
certain
Just
way.
very play-ish.
Yeah,
They're all talking like they're
exactly.
reading play lines and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And eventually it does kind of get to the point where like all of the characters are just so wrapped up in the weirdness that
It
the
works.
weird takes over.
It works.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. What's that? I think it's is that the cherry pie scene or whatever? Is that the end of season 1?
When he's getting cherry pie for the first time, or
I think it. I
I've
don't
seen him
remember
have cherry pie at this point.
yeah.
Cooper, right?
Yeah, Cooper. I don't. There's one specific scene where he has this like extraordinarily fucking strange monologue to the waitress. I thought, and the waitress is like, "What are you talking about?"
He does that a lot. He does that a lot.
Yes, that is.
I can't remember if it's in the pilot or not. I think it is because they Cooper and Sheriff.
I forget his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're sitting there. They're interviewing some guy, and they leave.
Is it John?
No,
No. Okay.
I don't know. But then they start looking through the evidence again, and Cooper picks up what is it? He picks up like a small box of chocolate, and he goes, "Diane, I hold in my hand a small box of chocolate something," and then it just cuts and moves on, and it's so fast. It's after like a really intense monologue scene between the two of them. And then he goes,
Yeah.
"Diane, I hold in my hand a small." Oh, it's chocolate bunnies, because he says, "I hold in my hand a small box of chocolate bunnies." Cut scene, move on.
I was like, that's kind of abrupt.
I'm like, that's such a weird thing to end a scene on. Like, nobody, if you went to film school and you did that, everybody would be like, that just seems like something you forgot to cut.
Yeah, which is kind of, it makes me so curious almost sometimes how people like David Lynch get into directing positions. Like, I've watched a lot of David Lynch stuff. It's not all my favorite stuff
No,
for a lot of
no.
the time. Like, I really liked some parts of
Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive and Lost Highway. I watched both of those. I did like Lost Highway, but there are a lot of parts of it where I was like, this is just like kind of vignettes and vibes.
Yeah.
Because David Lynch, do not tell me that you actually had a consistent idea of what this was going to be.
Well,
you
and
did not.
that's the thing with Twin Peaks. Like when you
Sorry,
talk
I thought my
about
phone was on.
it being all about the vibes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
even David Lynch doesn't fucking understand the story.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
So
sense.
there's a lot that like you will be able to understand, but like as you progress through it, you just gotta like sit back, relax, and like enjoy the fucking nightmare of a ride you're on.
Nightmare.
And you haven't seen season 3.
No, I haven't. I'm sorry. I'm trying to
That
figure
is
out how
so-
to totally silence my phone.
Does everyone come back for that?
Kind of, sort of. There's a few people that died, like cast members that are just
Yeah. David Lynch put him down.
himself. Laura,
Oh, come back on the show. You are not coming back on the show.
He saw the truck driver scene. He's like, done with you.
Laura Dern is like a main actress in season 3, and she does a really, really good job with her role.
Nice.
And when it's
God, I should watch season 3. I'm sorry.
it's really, really good. It's really, really
That's
good.
not streaming anywhere, right?
Stars, I think,
Stars.
or Showtime.
Who the fuck has?
But
Stars?
I have the
7 Seas streams all. Why are you fucking?
I have the Blu-rays,
You
so-
fucking sheep. Why are you
I don't-
still using streaming services?
I use them for the convenience of it all, but like on the flip side of it, I also just buy everything on Blu-ray, and like if I really want to watch something, I will watch it on Blu-ray.
Okay, I guess
Because
that's
I'm
right. You're a
like-
DVD guy. You don't.
I'm
you don't trust like
the physical
establishment.
media.
Physical media, the improvements of physical media over streaming.
Yeah, you're like an entertainment libertarian.
yeah, sure, yeah. But yeah, no, I put off watching Twin Peaks for the longest time, and then I watched it for the first time in this house, and I was hooked. And I started watching it in the fall, which is the best time to watch Twin Peaks.
Yeah. It's
Period.
got the entire show is like
Even though it takes place in winter.
laden with nostalgia.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's something about every shot that feels like it is speaking to something in your memory.
Yeah.
Which is what I would say is
just
like
that opening theme.
Yeah,
bro.
which-
just the shot of like the mill, and just
The bird.
that really lime green like Twin Peaks like font. Yeah, the bird. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, I just want to go outside right now. I just
Yeah.
want to fucking put on my fucking flannel or something and just go for a
Especially
walk.
like this weekend when it's going to be like 60.
Finally.
Yeah, you crack
That's
open a window,
exciting.
put a blanket on, dude. Little
This
little
weekend,
cup of hot
it's-
chocolate.
Crack open a PSL. Come on.
it's Sunday this weekend. The weekend's over.
This upcoming
next
weekend.
weekend,
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but like
Temperature drops finally to like 60.
Oh, thank Christ, fucking Jesus.
I'm hoping
I'm sweaty even
permanently, but
No,
it's probably early.
it's-
It's probably
yeah.
just a pocket.
we'll get permanent stuff in October.
Don't worry, this is going to be the coolest summer and fall of the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I do think of that every year. And it makes me sad.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember going out in the
Nice
summer,
too.
like when I was a kid, and it would be like 75 every day, and I was like, "This is nice.
This is nice.
I can enjoy every day outside." And there'd be the occasional 90-degree day where you're like,
Yeah, where you're,
you're
like,
like,
holy
oh,
shit, fuck going
"Ooh,
outside.
it's a little warm outside."
Yeah.
And this whole summer was pain.
Yeah, this whole summer was like
Pure
90,
minimum.
95. I got used to having it. The AC in my room like doesn't work, and so I got a mobile air conditioning unit. But there was a real long time there where I just had a fan in my ceiling, and my room was about 90 degrees on average.
That's how this
And
house was this summer.
horrible. I work from home, and holy fucking shit did my work productivity tank at that
My
level.
God.
of-
My productivity in general this summer, because I'd get home and like
You're a teacher, don't you not have to do stuff during the summer?
exactly, but like just doing stuff around the house, because the only time I could do stuff was from like 7 a.m. to 10:30, and then it was 90.
Yep.
And then my house was 85 across the board. The upstairs was like 92.
My God.
Because cooling this house in the summer would have cost me like $400 to get it to like
Holy
72 every day.
Ridiculous, but that sounds right. Yeah.
That's just because Excel has a monopoly over everything in Colorado, and nobody puts a stop to them, and
Yeah, when are we just gonna like form? Instead of like a Twin Peaks podcast, what if this was like an eco-terrorism podcast?
Eco-terrorism.
just
Listen,
throwing
when do
ideas
we
out
get to
there.
literally eat the rich? Because I'm tired of this whole.
I'm pretty hungry.
Pretty
we
hungry
joke
at this
about
point.
throwing Molotovs at a Walmart.
After a whole season, I'm like, I'm pretty
I'm never gonna be able
famished.
to be a fireman. At this fucking
You show up to like a affordable housing complex. You do everything in your power to save them. You show up to like a millionaire's house. It's on fire. You're like, the hose isn't working quite right today.
Goes out there with a Nerf gun.
Sorry, the
Yeah,
fire
there's a-
engine popped a wheel. No
Yeah,
replacement
911.
for that.
Yeah, my Tesla just flipped over. Click. Hello.
My Tesla just flipped over.
Oh.
Click.
1989 Toyota Camry. I'm on my way.
Oh my fucking god! I'm not getting a job anywhere.
911. Yeah, we just had a guy steal some fruit out of Walmart. Click. Fuck.
Fuck again. He always keeps murdering the cashiers on his way out. We don't get to tell him that part.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have a nice, cool weekend coming up where we can enjoy Twin Peaks and not think about the doom coming future. That'd be great.
Honestly, like, I haven't found a show that really fits the same vibes as Twin Peaks ever
Yeah, there's not one.
until I watched Castle Rock.
Oh, really?
And
You like-
Castle Rock,
I
it's
like
not as
Castle Rock.
weird. It's definitely more in the horror of everything.
Yeah.
But the vibes I get, it does feel nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
It feels autumnal,
I don't even know what that means.
folly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Autumny.
Fall vibes.
Ah.
Autumnal. Autumnal.
I didn't know that was a word.
Yeah.
I
more you know.
heard that with a letter O.
You know anything.
Autumnal. No, but it's a detective story for the first season, not a detective story for the second season. Still kind of the vibes. It takes place in a town that's just kind of, everything's a little off.
Yeah, so many unbelievable fucking things happening at once.
Yep. And
Imagine
it's-
if Stephen King and David Lynch co-founded a town, it would be fucking chaos.
Town. Fuck no.
Castle Rock being canceled is almost made me cancel Hulu.
Have you watched
Like I
the
can't?
trailer for Salem's Lot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
That is a movie that should have gone to theaters, and I'm kind of upset
Yeah.
that it didn't, because like that's a prime October.
Yeah, it is. That
'Cause-
is classic Stephen King.
Salem's Lot is one. First of all, is the book that inspired Mike Flanagan to do Midnight Mass.
Really?
Like he said
I
that
didn't know
a
that.
1,000 times. He's like, this is like when he was ramping it up and before anybody knew what Midnight Mass was about, he was like, it's not Stephen King, but it is heavily inspired by one Stephen King book. And you can see that because and every time he said that, I was like, what is this? Because you watch the trailers for Midnight Mass and you're like, is this a ghost story or like what's going on?
Yeah, he
here?
hides it really well.
Yeah.
And he gets it's so funny watching like Mike Flanagan interviews or something in retrospect once you know what it is, because he gets so hyped up on his shit where he's like, it's like if you took some books of the Bible really, really seriously.
It's very well done. And Salem's Lot, the book. Have you read the book?
I didn't read the book.
Have you watched like the?
I've watched Castle Rock.
Okay, so you know how
I know
it's-
Salem's Lot. The
It's
story.
yeah. And Castle Rock does a really good job of that feeling of dread,
Yeah.
just exponentially increasing
Yeah,
like
it
Midnight
does.
Mass does. Like
Yeah, fucking does.
the first season it's cool. It has its moments. The second season is
yeah.
unbelievably
Yeah,
good,
really fucking good.
And I think
And it has
didn't-
an actor from Shameless too.
Yeah. Twin Peaks, the main character,
Cooper?
He's in Shameless?
no.
Agent Cooper? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, he's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, he plays a pretty big character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Pretty fucking hilarious, because, like, this guy is just, he's ridiculous every time you see him. He's also the captain on How I Met Your Mother.
That's what my brother said. I don't remember this character at all.
Do you remember Zoe, the girl that Ted dated? She was trying to, like, preserve a building and Ted was trying to break it down.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah, so
plot.
she was like in a relationship with this really intense guy called the Captain, and he called himself the Captain, and that's this guy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he's in a lot of other stuff too, but Laura Palmer's dad is Robin Scherbatsky's dad in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. I
Yeah.
was wondering, like, he looks a little familiar. Oh, shit.
There's a lot of people that'll show up and you're like, I fucking know you. David Bowie is in,
What?
he's in Fire Walk with Me.
Oh,
He plays a big
that's
role
why I
in the
don't know
movie, in the prequel. The guy, who's the guy?
So fucking cool.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, what's his name? Designated Survivor. Was he in? Oh, not Heroes.
When did the movie come out?
After season 2,
Okay.
1990 something. Anyway, there's so many people that show up that you're like, what the fuck are you doing here? And then you're like, oh, you're here. This is fucking dope. This is fucking dope. That's how Laura Dern shows up. She's got like a purple fucking wig on.
I kind of want to rewatch the rest of it now so that I can watch the movies with a fresh eye.
Well, there's the one movie, Fire Walk with Me, which is
I thought there were 2.
no. There's like
That didn't sound like a...
because there's all this stuff that like came out and it was like trying to help people piece stuff together.
Oh,
And it's great if you're like, I'm gonna deep dive and take fucking notes and try to understand what the fuck is going on in this show. But like most of the time, you kind of just have to accept it is what it is. And move
yeah, and
on.
you're not gonna. There's a lot of shit that you're like not going to know.
There's definitely stuff that they started that they never finish, and you just have to accept that.
Oh.
Because they definitely, especially season 3, they focus in on one point of Twin Peaks, and they follow that for a very long time.
Yeah.
You have a strong opinion. What is it?
No, it's not. It's not about Twin Peaks though. I just want to know if either of you are excited for the Silent Hill 2 remake. Do I? Oh my god!
I would love to play it.
I can't.
Really?
I can't. I couldn't even play the original PS2. It freaked me out.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll play it with you. Or I play it.
So he wanted to have do like a themed like a horror night for, I don't know if it was for like spooky movies. I assumed video games. Maybe that was just me.
Probably both.
But we would just like come over and play like, I mean, that comes out this October this year, right? So
It comes out in about 22 days.
We could do that. Resident Evil 4, Evil
Until
Within,
Dawn.
Until Dawn, which
Until
I'll never
Dawn is
beat.
so good.
Also, I have a bone to pick with that fucking game. No rhyme or reason for it to have a remake already.
Until Dawn is getting a remake.
A full-blown remake.
It comes
Why?
out October 5th.
It's
What?
stupid.
It still
It's a
looks
last
good.
gen game.
Yeah, it looks great. That's so weird.
Part of me thinks they remade it just because. Part of me thinks like you compare it, you go back and play it, it looks good, but the remake looks really good. I think the price is too steep.
Is it another 60?
60, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It was a free game of the month at one point.
Yeah.
That's how
And
I
it's
played
it's
it.
still
Yeah.
really good, but like I don't know. I just have a bone to pick with Sony this generation and Xbox in general. They really haven't done anything.
That pro is really disappointing.
The $700
that?
Pro console for the PS5 that really only plays games at 4K 60, nothing higher than 60, and it targets 60.
And it doesn't come with a disc drive.
Doesn't come
Is
with
my
a disc
biggest
drive.
issue.
Doesn't come with a
additional.
stand.
That
or
is
the stand.
fucking goofy.
And-
I did read it. I remember reading about that stand issue. That's fucking
Yeah.
silly as shit.
They said they're targeting 60 FPS on The Last of Us 2, which The Last of Us 2 is a last gen game.
Right.
Yeah, that is
It's-
fucking silly. They could also just do Bloodborne remastered and make $1 bajillion.
Exactly. Come on.
If they gave just Bloodborne with 60 FPS consistently, they could make $1 bajillion fucking dollars. I don't understand why they haven't
100%.
done that. Or yeah, why are they fucking remaking all this other shit?
It's
I didn't
It's
have
weird to
no
me.
idea
Sony-
until Dawn was getting a remake.
Sony has kind of lost it this gen, and the biggest thing is we're so focused on fidelity of games that they they focus on making it look as realistic as possible, and they don't need to.
They don't
No,
take into account what it'll
absolutely
be
don't
like
need
during
to.
mid-gameplay. 'Cause
Yeah,
if the frames drop, it all looks like shit anyway.
Exactly. If
And-
the frames are shitty, it's like, okay, I'm looking at a desktop wallpaper.
But like that's why Wolverine got announced in 2020 or 2018.
No.
It's been a while since the Wolverine game has been announced.
Announced? Like
Announced.
the trailer?
The trailer.
It has not been that long.
I'll look it up. But that's one where I'm like, hey,
Because we got the trailer when we got the trailer for Spider-Man 2.
Is that game still in development?
yeah.
Yeah.
think it was 2 years ago.
Any game that's in development more than 4 years has so much issue. It's what kind of happened with it's why crunch is such a hard issue for game devs to escape.
2021.
But like,
Are you serious?
holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game's
almost 4 years
Yeah,
since
that
they
game is
announced it, and we've seen nothing since.
definitely
except for the leak.
in development hell.
Except for the leak, that's right.
Yeah,
There
it,
was-
it sucks because like with that focus on fidelity, developers have to keep catching up with the latest tech if a game is taking a while to develop, which leads to rewriting old shit on old engines constantly, and you end up with a shitty game that's not optimized very well and fallen behind and took a long time to
And
make.
it's so easy for a game company to just fucking go bankrupt because of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's what honestly I kind of feel pretty strongly. I did a project in college, one of my favorite projects on the development of The Last of Us Part 2, because Rockstar lost about 70% of its veteran developers after that game came out.
Holy
You mean
shit.
Naughty Dog?
Naughty Dog, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Rockstar.
Yeah, they lost
but
a lot, and that's when Druckmann took over. And I don't think Druckmann is the right person to lead that company in any direction.
Yeah,
Seems
I don't
like a
think
huge
Druckmann would do it.
perfectionist.
Well, he not a perfectionist. He's very full of himself.
Mm,
He's
Yeah.
very full of himself. Where like if you don't agree with one of his decisions, you're wrong.
really? I didn't know that about him. I don't know much about Druckmann
But-
himself. I did more like,
I know, like just from a standpoint, like I really liked what he did with Last of Us Part 2.
yeah.
Because the original plan for Part 2 was to make it more like Part 1. Very. And I don't think the follow up would have been that good.
Yeah.
If they
I mean,
hadn't-
originally I thought part 1 wasn't supposed to be a part 1. I thought it was supposed to be a complete story, and then they're like,
It
we made
was.
so
He was like, I'll only do a sequel if the story's right. and fitting.
Yeah. Which and then
was.
and then they made a ridiculous amount of money, and they were like, get some writers on this.
Yeah.
And now we have a third one.
Yep.
But
Has that been announced?
Has it?
they said they're working on it. They were working on getting the show up to where the game is first.
That
And
makes
they
sense.
have their other RPG sci-fi game coming out that's been in development for like 9 years.
I also don't know what a third one would be, to be honest.
Well,
Could make guesses, but that'd be spoilery.
Yeah, I don't know what the third one is. Just like, I mean, we all probably could have figured out the baseline of the second one from the first one, because you're like, oh,
He
They're
did
at this new
something
town,
bad.
and
yeah, she's gonna find out. And
but like at the end of
Yeah.
this, at the end of the second one, you're like,
this is not how I thought it was. This would go.
everybody's pretty unhappy and pretty set of where they are. So
Yeah, everyone's kind of going in different
And
directions.
I think everybody has realized the error of their mistakes over the course of this
Yeah,
game, and
yeah.
they're all
Anyone
pretty upset.
anyone that's alive.
Yeah, they're all pretty upset.
anyone that's alive.
No, GTA 6, huge example of them
Oh my god, that's
waiting
right.
way
That's
too
gonna be a
long.
fucking game.
way too fucking long for a game to come out. And it's part of that is like Rockstar also lost a lot of its after Red Dead 2, they lost a lot of their creative talent.
Really?
Their story writer, like their lead story writer left after Red Dead 2.
I
sad.
really.
And
Is
that-
it bad of me to hope that GTA 6, for once, Rockstar doesn't get a 10 out of 10 game?
I feel
don't-
similarly.
I don't hope that they do, because I don't hope that they don't get a 10, because I love when a 10 out of 10 game comes out and it's genuinely a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
So like, and we haven't had a 10 out of 10 game in a long time.
Yeah.
Long
Yeah.
time.
I don't know. I didn't. People fucking loved GTA 5, but I sort
God
of.
of War 2, not a 10?
From them, I think it was a 9. I thought it was a 9.
I don't know about that.
Either way, fuck IGN because their reviews mean fucking nothing.
Well, now
Yeah.
they haven't had a hot year.
But like a 10 out of 10 that I felt like a 10 out of 10. Because even God of War 2, I didn't feel like it was a
Did you
10
beat
out
it?
of 10. No, not yet. Because again, I don't feel like it's a 10 out of 10. And I'm having the same kind of issue with you in Red Dead. Where I'm like, this feels like a lot of the same from the first game. And I'm sure the story's great. But I'm like, I feel like I'm doing the same shit again. And it's kind of boring.
I really liked God of War 1, but there are a lot of people when it came out comparing it to like The Last of Us in terms of its storytelling, and I just did not feel like that was the case. There were some really good dialogue. I thought like the storytelling sequences on the boat were awesome. I thought some of the parts like when fucking Kratos went into that beam of light in like the Dark Elf territory or whatever, and then came back out, and it's been like fucking. I thought that was an amazing moment. When you find out who his son is, I thought that was really fucking cool. But it just there were no like I was never tearing up at anything.
I really felt like the first game.
I didn't too, though.
Yeah,
I didn't too.
The first one felt like a very strong 8 out of 10. The second one is feeling like that again. Just because it's so similar to the first one in terms of gameplay that I'm like...
But it kind of took the approach of like, if it ain't broke, like why bother to fix it? The first one was addicting as it was.
did have really
But,
good
like,
gameplay. Yeah,
That's also my issue with like Spider-Man 2. They didn't really change enough of the gameplay to make
made
it
it worse.
feel like...
Well, fighting mechanics to me better.
Yeah, the story...
Everything else was a downgrade.
It just... That's like Sony this generation is nothing feels next gen so far. Everything feels like... No, the swinging is much better.
Swinging is fantastic.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, no, like
that was good.
The gameplay of the game is improved, but it's still the same game. Like, and granted, with Spider-Man, there's not a lot you can do to change that up. So I get that, and they tried.
It's New York.
You know,
Yeah.
my fucking biggest, you know what I'm mad about? It
don't really grinds my gears.
Gets my goat, bro. I fucking loved the Dishonored games in Prey and Redfall.
Played those.
You haven't played? Are you into like immersive sim games at all? Have you heard that term? Do you know anything? Do you know anything at all?
So. Is there another example besides the games you just listed?
System Shock.
I know of them, but still haven't played them.
Damn it. They're like games where they're not necessarily open world, but I mean, they can be, but it's more that you can complete it in a bunch of different ways and the environment has a lot of depth to it. So something like Dishonored, like, oh, I can kill everyone or I cannot touch anyone or I don't even have to use all the abilities. I can be this kind of, so it's that sort of shit. And have you been into those games at all?
I really like Dishonored 1 and 2.
So good.
Fucking hated the time loop one they did.
Oh, Deathloop.
Deathloop.
I played a teensy bit of that and was like, yeah, this ain't my.
Was Prey good?
Jazz.
Prey was really
good.
Very, very good.
Prey had a really good story. I thought the enemies were really kind of monotonous, but that was kind of the only bummer of the game.
IGN gave Deathloop a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Why?
I remember seeing that review and going, holy shit, this game must be incredible. I wasn't super into it, but I liked the idea of that.
Yeah, I thought the
roguelite.
idea of it was cool.
And then I played it and I was like, this sucks.
yeah,
Like, this is a solid 6 of a game.
Yeah, that's so fucking crazy that they gave that a 10 out of 10. I don't get that at all.
No, they say we're approaching the end of this generation, and I'm like, what really do we have to show for it? Because like the truly only next gen game that I felt like is next gen has been Returnal.
Really, I never played that. Was that worth it?
I haven't beat it yet, but him and I have played co-op on it, and that game has felt like next gen. Not even necessarily graphically, though it is beautiful.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is how well, because it's a PS5 exclusive, how well they utilized the controller mechanics, and none of it felt like a gimmick either. It felt
Like when it's
so
raining,
cool
because of the way it vibrates the controller, you feel every raindrop in specific places while you're holding the controller in your hands.
That's really fucking cool. I almost got myself a
just the
PS5
trigger
other
effects
day.
is what I was really like.
The trigger effects and like how you balance like weapons with them.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Just like everything about that game felt next gen. like the procedurally generated environments, the weird layouts, how much particle effects there can be on the screen at once without it dropping below 60 is insane.
God, this makes me want to get a PS5.
It's on PC.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's on PC, and if you buy the DualSense controller, you get all the same features.
Oh shit!
So it's there. But if you get it on PS5, then you can play
That's pretty cool.
the tower game with us.
That does sound pretty fun.
Oh, no, I'm not going to say it.
What?
I was going to say Astrobot, but none of the features would be that different from the PS4 controller. Oh, minus the trigger effects.
Yeah.
Had me blow into the mic for a couple things. I'm like, okay, this is crazy.
You
had to lick the handles a little bit.
you got to do the Astrobot that came with the PS5.
I can't do that anymore.
Yes, you can.
This is already way better. It's going to feel like a downgrade.
No. It's not going to feel like a downgrade. I guarantee you, because that game, like, it's designed to get you like understanding what the PS5 controller is.
Once you finish Red Dead 2, then you have to try the first Astrobot.
Tell you what, give me a game to beat, and I'll beat it. And once I beat it, then you have to start continuing Red Dead.
This is the new deal.
This is the new deal. And when I mean start continuing,
This
I
is
mean
the
like
Tyler New Deal.
taking some time once a week and getting through that rougher part until you get linked to John or Arthur.
I think that's gonna make him not like it.
How far are we'll see. How far are you in Ragnarok?
I don't know. I think I just got out of the elves place again, which had me stuck for a little bit. I have.
Did you beat Uncharted 4?
Did you beat Uncharted
No,
4?
I got it spoiled for me, but no, I never beat it.
Like, fuck, that kind of sucks.
I almost said make me do Elden Ring, but no, don't.
I would you not beat an
I know.
No, I can't beat Elden
I
Ring.
know if I said that, it'd be like, cool, I might as well just sell my copy of Red Dead right now. That's never happening.
Like, I feel like I could do like Bloodborne or something like that, but not until
Done.
not until they get
Done.
to 60.
Done. Do
that
it.
game
Do it.
needs a remake. Or just unlock the frame
It's
rate
fully playable.
at 30 FPS with big old drops because it doesn't use the PS5's boost mode. That's
It's
my
fun.
biggest issue with it.
I played that game on PS4 like 80 times.
I'll still do it. You wanted to make this deal.
But like,
not
give me a
that
game
old.
that's at 60.
No.
Because like
That's
Red
not the
Dead
deal.
2 at 30 is fine because it's slower paced and you eventually just get used to it. I still would much rather play that game at 60 or higher. But that game is a cinematic.
I'm
game.
hearing bullshit.
I
As
am
someone that
also
loves,
hearing bullshit.
as someone that loves Red Dead 2 and loves Bloodborne, I'm hearing bullshit. You could absolutely play Bloodborne at 30 FPS and beat that. You know, what if you didn't play the DLC? That's where it's really hard anyway.
Well, I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
play
man,
the
I won't
DLC.
force that on just the base game.
Okay, I'll do it.
Is that real? Do you promise?
On camera. Give me that hand.
Give him your hand.
But hang on.
Oh
because
my
because I need your opinion on this because
Okay.
Red Dead 2 is a slow burn of a game. I don't think you should wait for me to beat Bloodborne to start it.
Now you're just backing out on the
No, but like you should dip your toes in the water here and there.
I think Rudy should push through to like probably chapter 3 of Red Dead 2 and
Chapter
if he
4 is my favorite chapter.
and if he doesn't, I mean for me
How many are there?
the ending is 6
6 chapters.
That include the epilogue?
Yeah, but if you don't want to do the epilogue, I'm not going to make you.
If you
because
don't want to do the epilogue by the time
Yeah.
you finish
I was
it,
gonna.
then just
We had
don't.
this talk with Roth,
Just
and
don't
it
do
sounds like it's a must.
Yeah,
so,
that
I'm
that
including
said,
it.
the epilogue that they're bad at beginnings.
Yeah.
The epilogue
epilogue starts
bad.
off rough.
The epilogue it's kind of hilarious how bad the epilogue starts off for about an hour. Is
Yeah.
the most boring hour of gameplay.
It's real,
It's so
real rough.
fucking obnoxious how bad it is.
Because you go from
But-
like the greatest thing ever
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
boring
So
boring
like
garbage.
Animal Crossing for about
Yeah.
45 minutes, but like pretty bad Animal Crossing. But I would say, I mean, I think you should give Red Dead 2 a shot. I know what you're saying with those, like, there are kind of a lot of missions that are sort of a hassle because they are just kind of like, I'm going to ride my horse over here and then I'm going to ride my horse back.
Those are the missions that I take my time and like let myself get into the environment.
I do hate that level design of like Rockstar games, kind of like GTA, where it's just like you have 2 to 3 different missions you can go to. Most of them aren't going to add up to the main plot, or at least not right now. And so that still feels like a side mission.
What Red Dead 2 does really well is taking missions that you kind of thought were a side mission or thought weren't going to add to the main plot. And then, holy shit, this is taking me to the next fucking chapter right now.
There's one mission that is side mission written all the fucking way over it, but it has the biggest impact on the game.
It has
And
there's
you
a lot
play it for the first time and you're like, side mission.
But honestly, just like I think if you're just going to like the Dutch Vanderland Bill mission, built like the yellow dots on the map, the ones you actually like have to do, the story stuff. If you're just doing those, they don't take that long to get through. For me, probably. I mean, I enjoyed Chapter 2 and 3. I enjoyed Chapter 3 when I first played Red Dead 2, but I wasn't like hooked until I played Chapter 4. And
when you get to Saint Denis,
and once you get like kind of through that area, and it really starts like, oh my fucking god, what's going to happen to these characters? Once I got to that point, it was like, fuck the side mission. I don't want to, like, it. To me, it became so weird to do the side missions because the story felt so breakneck and so pertinent that it was like, Arthur would not be going to do that right now. Arthur would be immediately going to take care of business for this huge fucking deal that just happened. So that was, so...
There's also,
I think if you keep doing those missions, you probably will get to a point, and I would guess around Chapter 3 to 4, like I think you'll probably start enjoying it more in mid to late Chapter 2. You'll probably start enjoying a bit more of the freedom, especially if you're just doing the story missions. But I think you'll start feeling like hooked, like I have to see this through, probably like around Chapter 4. I think you miss out on a little by not wanting to just be a cowboy deep in your bones, but so I would say if for you, I would like start it, you know, and maybe like I'm replaying Red Dead 2 right now, and I'll literally play like a mission that takes like a half hour, and then I stop because I'm not as, I want to see like the Chapter 4, Chapter 5 shit is what I really like. With Bloodborne, you fucking get to it. I think you fucking start and you gotta. Do you suck at those games?
No, it just. I need more. No, I don't. Okay, so here's the thing: is like Rudy, and probably you, and even Alex have played those games forever, and like you're so used to that style.
That was my first one.
Yeah,
was Bloodborne. That my first Souls.
That's
game.
a hard one to start.
Yeah, I found out.
Yeah,
and like,
it's a hard
I
game.
loved because I played through like Dark Souls 3 with Brendan and Rothan when I.
If you play Dark Souls 3, you can play Bloodborne.
But I played it with them with co-op, so that's my thing. Is like,
then use co-op.
Yeah, like I don't have fun getting beaten down till I'm fucking crying. And Rudy knows this with how long it took me to beat Margit, and even the Tree Sentinel. Like, and part of that was because I was an idiot, and I was like,
bad.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. He eventually got to the point. He's like, "You're not putting your attributes in the right spot for the character you picked."
Oh,
you
were building your.
I was
guy
like
around?
increasing my wisdom, but like he was starting on like strength. So I was going to these fights every time, just dying. And he's like,
"How did you make that mistake?"
It doesn't tell you anything. Like that's the thing is like with these games that tell you.
What made you think that wisdom of all things is what you needed?
I don't know. There was something else that I attributed it
He
to. But
wanted
I,
his character to be a math teacher.
That's probably fair. And then I think my other issue with Elden Ring is I got looped into.
Elden Ring's a motherfucker of a game. I love it.
It's huge, but like I got looped into trying to find easy ways to like cheese bosses and stuff like that. And it ended up becoming more of a hassle for me, like farming
Yeah.
souls and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's not necessary.
No, and
Yeah,
it
it is
doesn't teach
unnecessary.
you how to play the game either. Because like then you go and try to fight a boss and they still fucking kick your ass.
Yeah.
Like you could have all the strength in the world if you don't know how to play the game.
Those are games where you definitely learn by failure. But in Bloodborne, I mean, the problem that you might face with Bloodborne now is not a whole ton of people play that game co-op anymore.
Yeah.
It might be kind of hard to summon some people, but you definitely can get some decent build goings and learn your dodge timing. Like, yeah, some bosses are still gonna suck, but in the base game, you don't even like. That's really the Chalice dungeons and the DLC that are gonna have the bosses that beat you until you're like, I don't like this game anymore.
Yeah.
Like in the base game, who's that bad in the base game?
What's his
Some of
face
the
that
early
gives you
games
the
were.
Moonfall Greatsword?
I thought that was DLC.
No, was it?
The guy, the horse
Yeah.
beast, that's DLC.
Was
That's
it? Oh, shit.
That's Old Hunter.
Fuck, you got nothing.
Yeah, you're fine.
Moon Presence, which is
Moon
the final
Presence
boss.
is so easy.
Yeah. But
You'll have the hardest time you'll have will honestly probably be with some of the early game bosses like Blood-Starved Beast.
I remember because I definitely
Thunderdog.
I've
Yeah,
started the game
Thunderdog sucks.
before. I beat 2 bosses. I don't know. I know one was a main boss because it's like the one you were forced to fight
in the
kind of
graveyard.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, that guy. You beat that guy, you can beat the game.
But for perspective, because you know how in Dark Souls 3 you have to beat that first boss before you can start doing co-op.
Yeah.
Okay. That first boss took me 4 days to beat.
Yeah, I heard that story with some
Yeah.
people.
That
that
first boss is a nightmare.
It was kind of
people-
gnarly for a first
It
boss.
was. It was
And,
pretty intense.
Like, especially that he has a second form as a first boss.
It's
and,
kind of hilarious.
and you're like beat down to this much health, and you're like, yes, I did it. And then he's like, here's my arm, and then it's a fucking dragon now. And you're like, oh, buddy, come on.
It makes me want to play Dark Souls 3 again. This is pretty,
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me. I haven't beat the Elden Ring DLC yet. I need to do that. Yeah, see, the reason I haven't beat it is I see that look on people's faces when I talk about it. Have you beat it? No. Really? You haven't beat the last boss yet? No. You got to the last boss and you still... Man, that's like me with Sekiro.
It's been a month.
Really?
It's been a month.
Holy shit. They nerfed
But
it.
like, I know. I know.
Yeah, see, Elden Ring is not the game for me.
Yeah, you might not.
And
Rudy's
even though
struggling
like
with
it's been like a month of time since I got to him, but I think total gameplay has been like 3-ish hours, maybe a little more. I still say that Sekiro has the hardest boss out of the Souls games.
Which one?
The last one,
Yeah.
Ishin.
Yep.
What an asshole.
Holy fuck. The Glock Samurai? Yeah. It's like you play this entire game with fucking
Because
samurai
like in the
swords
other
and this dude
games,
brings
you
out
have
a
the
deagle.
choice of like, yeah. In the other games, you can pick like a build or any type of build. In
Sekiro,
Sekiro, it's just like
You can
it
try
forces
different-
you. You're playing the game
Sekiro is
this way.
a rhythm game.
It is.
Yeah. Sekiro is a rhythm music game.
The parries are so
essentially.
satisfying.
Yeah, exactly. No,
You can get it down.
One last thing I just want to circle back around to is the fidelity conversation. Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws came out, and one of the biggest things, I love the game.
I can't
Really?
believe I
love
can't
the
believe you
game.
that you do.
I love the game. And a
watched
couple
gameplay
people were
online.
like, the gameplay is very simple. It's very simple,
it looks cheesy as fuck.
but it's Star Wars.
It's like I feel like it's been a mediocre version of better gameplay genres from different games we've seen already. And it just took like of everything.
So that's kind of why I love it.
What?
'Cause it's a master of none. Like
This is the weirdest defense.
like across
heard.
the board, it's a 7 in just about every category. There's nothing that feels worse than anything else, but I'm having a blast, and it reminds me a lot of Red Dead 1. As weird as that fucking sounds.
Interesting.
And like I like the mechanics of like balancing the reputation between the crime syndicates. That's super fun because like if you fuck with somebody enough, you'll just be on their bad side. They'll be sending bounty hunters after you across the galaxy. Any of their zones that you might have like a campaign mission in, it's an instant fail stealth mission to get to that campaign mission if you're in a bad enough reputation with them.
Jesus Christ.
And the stealth is simple, but it's the people spot you very easily, and then you're fucked.
This just isn't sounding like that great an advertisement.
It's
the game.
for me, I've been enjoying it because it's added a challenge to what seems like a simplistic game. But
Interesting.
But does the challenge come from the poor game mechanics?
no,
Because I love
the
stealth
challenge-
like Metal Gear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd say the stealth in this is like Watch Dogs stealth, because this game, it really is. It feels like they took the Watch Dogs team and they brought it over to Star Wars, because your little guy that you have does everything that your phone would do in Watch Dogs normally. So like all the stealth missions are like looking at your environment, and like what can you do to fuck with people.
Interesting.
And I mean, yeah, you take down stormtroopers in like one knock of the head.
I think that's the
But
part
I'm like-
I saw that. I kind of liked that
I'm
when
like,
I saw
that-
that. I was like, that looks like the first Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's the nostalgia of everything. It feels very much like early Star Wars.
Yeah.
But then you get into the grimier side of it with the syndicates, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the stealth you described doesn't sound like
The stealth
my
is-
thing.
I wish it was better, but it's still like it's like Assassin's Creed stealth.
Okay.
Like if you thought about how genuinely, if you think about how simplistic Assassin's Creed stealth is now, like hide in a bush, whistle, come over here, hide in a bush, whistle, come over here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. It's also like I got sucked into the game 1,000%. The speeder is fun. The mini games they have is fun. The world feels alive, which I haven't felt an open world game do in a long time.
That's big. And also, I don't know, if a game is pulling you in for whatever reason, it's pulling you in, right? Like
And-
something is working. That is impressive to me that the world sounds
Pulling you
like
in,
some form of alive, because does seem like a consistent problem. It seems like Rudy has so many thoughts about the stuff
Well, he just
in
wants to make
Assassin's
fun of
Creed
something.
aspect.
I that last one was about how you said pulling. You just said pooling. I was like, does he mean?
No, but like
That's it.
Damn.
it's oh god, like the first time I got out of like the syndicate area where it's just like a crowded, like kind of like being in like a favela area. That's what it feels
But
like.
that game
is
has
like,
decent fidelity and performance, because
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be kind of buggy.
it's buggy like a Ubisoft game is, but I've run into one big bug so far, and the rest is just kind of
Did you fall through the map?
no. The guy that I was supposed to meet was invisible, and therefore I couldn't talk to him till I restarted my game.
That's a pretty big deal.
But no, it feels like I'm in Star Wars for the first time, and like the Jedi games made me feel like a Jedi, but I didn't really feel like I was in Star Wars.
Which is wild, because like, isn't that the whole point?
Yes, but like this, you.
To be a Jedi. Why the fuck else would I want
I-
to be in this world?
I kind of hate how much people are shitting on this game, because the developers behind it are not one of Ubisoft's biggest teams. But what they pulled off for being a pretty small Ubisoft team for the first Star Wars game Ubisoft has made is pretty impressive, because it looks and feels and plays like you're just some scavenger in Star Wars. It doesn't have any attachment to the Skywalkers, which I really like. The first time you go out into the open world and you're like, holy shit, this is huge. And then you take off from the planet and you're like, holy shit, this is even huger. And then you realize there's 4 other planets, and then now there's like 4 other planets, and they all have unique things going on and different syndicates running them and different vibes. And it just,
And you don't feel overwhelmed with that?
no,
Why?
because it's
I only ask that because I know you feel overwhelmed with sometimes a smaller size. So what makes this okay?
it's chunked up into smaller sizes where like the map of each open world is probably, I'd say it's about like GTA 4 sized maps, where there's a shit ton to do and there's a lot of uniqueness to the world, but it's not like overwhelming like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or
So it's a lot in
Valhalla.
total. It's just smaller in chunks.
Yes, it's very well chunked up. I'm not a
I know, I like that.
I think the story missions are the worst part of it, or not the story mission. The side missions are the worst part, because it does feel like they're just
Generic.
Very generic. Go here, get this, come back. And that's it. And it doesn't like add anything to like the reputation system they've got going on. But
I'm curious to how much have you played it now?
I think 20 hours.
I'm curious to hear how you feel when you're at the end of it. I don't know if any of you guys played Atomic Heart, but
I tried.
I loved that game for about the first 20 hours, and then it became the most monotonous fucking thing I've ever done, and I dragged my feet through beating the rest of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I bought it. I was super hyped about it, and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
do
It
it.
seems so fucking cool at first, but then something about it is like the most repetitive thing in the world.
It's the
The security bots fucking suck. On the open world part of that game is horrible.
yeah, and I'm sure the stealth, because I've been playing Spider-Man again just to get the platinum on it, but like I think I had to take a break from Outlaws just because the stealth was fun, but like I kind of did too much of it in a row that I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with doing this kind of stealth. The same thing happened to me with just about any kind of game.
Yeah.
I had to take a break from Red Dead 2 after the end of Chapter 5. That I love I hate Chapter 5.
Yeah.
It's the shortest chapter by far. Like, I think it takes like an hour, maybe 2 to beat.
Jesus.
Most of the
it-
chapters, if you're just doing the story missions, probably don't take longer than 2 hours.
Oh, they do. I think the whole
This
story
guy
takes
told me
35
what?
hours.
35 hours? Yeah, for the campaign.
For the campaign.
I'd say
you think?
each chapter is probably 4 hours, including travel time. If
I don't know. Maybe I'm just way better at video games than you.
Well, that's the minimum anyway. But yeah, I think we've rambled on.
I'm a
long.
speed run this game.
You could and still get the full story. I think you could beat it in under 30 if you just do story only. Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see what
You
happens.
could even turn on cheats if you want.
No.
Nah, it's not gonna
The cheats are kind of fun. Just
I like that the game does still use cheats that can be found out in the world.
Yeah.
Like you can find cheat codes hidden in the
Yeah.
world, and you can use them. Still.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that is awesome.
yeah. Red Dead. Honestly, like I think why Outlaws has hooked me is because that moment of stepping out of the gate into the world felt like the first time you officially get to the Valentine area of Red Dead, and you're like, wow, this place isn't all just fucking snow.
Yeah, I almost called it Horsetooth.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, Horse something Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a fun one.
But I think just to cap off our Red Dead discussion of Twin Peaks here,
Red Dead Twin
This
Peaks
was
that we
this was a
discussed.
Red Dead episode
Yeah.
with a sprinkle of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, we talked about Twin Peaks for maybe
I think
like 15 to 20 minutes.
Twin Peaks is something I would like to revisit with all of us once you have both completed Twin Peaks.
completed the show.
Like when we get to that point and
you
you guys are like, cool, I've finished it, I'd like to
down.
bring us back together and be like, so how has your
What'd you
perspective
think?
changed?
what would you have? We got my rating. What would you?
Oh,
have
yeah,
rated
yeah.
that
What did you
episode?
rate?
A 9.
Yeah.
Because I walked in just like, I'm probably just gonna watch this pilot. He said it's a good show. I'll watch it sometime later. And the pilot was done. I'm just like, I'm gonna keep watching.
Nice.
I will
Nice.
say save a lot of it for when it does get chillier because it's vibe setting.
Yeah, it is. For
Light a
sure.
little candle, turn off the lights, and watch some Twin Peaks. You're
Already
set.
do.
Already.
All right, this is coming to the end of our 20th episode, our longest episode in a while, but
Jesus
it makes
Christ.
perfect sense. Nick
There's
is
a lot
always
to say.
A great time to talk about very insightful conversations about
For cornering Rudy.
cornering Rudy, but like in a way
you see
that
Nick as the guest for the episode. You know what's gonna happen.
yeah. we gotta bring Alex in here. Just
Alex would listen to that. He
Yes.
would have, I think, a lot of valuable thoughts, and I think he would
That
probably.
chair. I know
We
they
have-
can't
we
see
have
it, but
a
that
chair.
chair, that's his.
In speaking for him a little bit, I think he probably would have found a lot of value in it kind of feeling like work now that people have asked you to do it so much.
all right. But anyway,
Kisses.
Nick, thanks for coming on. Rudy, thanks for getting here when you did. And it's been a blast. Hope you guys had a great time. Thank you for listening, watching, supporting. We will be back whenever we are with a new episode, hopefully next week, if not the week after.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Whenever Fernando takes care of that fucking body on the water or something.
Dude, he's got to stop crying.
Yeah.
He's got to stop.
He's
crying.
got
He's
to stop crying.
All right,
Gotta talk.
we'll
to
see you
someone
later.
about that.
Deuces.
Have a good time.
Bye-bye.